Up next, Steve Gettle is a photographer who captures his love for wildlife and the wilderness in his images.
Making beautiful pictures is just a matter of time. The beauty's out there. All you got to do is be out there enough to capture it and be in front of it when it happens. As a little kid, I was out hunting frogs and hunting turtles, and then I picked up a camera to start documenting things that I saw. I've been taking pictures for over 30 years. I started off with a Minolta X370, which was a real entry-level camera. I explored the woods and fields around my home and photographed basically anything in nature that wouldn't stop moving. I was going through my desk the other day and I found an envelope filled with my best shots from back in the day, just little 3x5 prints, and there was a bald eagle in there and some white-tailed deer and a green heron and things like that. One of the goals that I'm trying to do is to get different behaviors, and one of the things that I love to photograph is action, is being able to stop action, photographing birds in flight and animals running, and show people something that they couldn't see with their naked eye. Well, my camera actually takes 10 frames per second. When you're photographing birds in flight, it's all about wing position. You want their wings up or you want their wings down. You want them in a pleasing position. So the more frames per second you can take, the better your chances of capturing that peak action. Michigan's really a great place for a photographer to be. Michigan is such a great state because of the diversity of wildlife we have. You go up in the Upper Peninsula and you may as well be in Canada. We have wolves and lynx and bobcat and all the different, and the boreal forest species up there. And then you come down here into southern Lower Peninsula and we have, great white-tailed deer herds and turkey and all the songbirds, and it's very, very diversified. I've been photographing in Kensington for probably 20 years. Photographed the sandhill crane nest, and there's an osprey nest there that I shoot pretty regularly, and then they have a beautiful heron rookery. That's a great opportunity for photography. Taking photographs is a lot like fishing. You're out there working all the time and you're taking a lot of pictures, but really what we're doing is we're trying to get those trophies, that wow factor image. When I go out, I'm always open to serendipity. If an opportunity presents itself, I'm going to make that picture. But generally, I go out with a purpose. Most people are surprised to hear that many of my images are pre-visualized in my head. I think of a picture that I want to make, and then I go out and figure out a way to make that picture. And that's one of the things that I love about nature photography is solving those puzzles, figuring out how can I get a cardinal on this pine branch, or how can I get a picture of the sandhill crane feeding its young. And that's one of the challenges I really enjoy in nature photography. If I could only photograph one thing, it would probably be birds. I really love photographing birds. They're so beautiful, and they have interesting, courtship behaviors and nesting behaviors and things like that. There's a lot of things to photograph, but then after that, it'd probably be the macro photography. And I do a lot of things with high-speed flash, where I use high-speed flash to freeze action. So this is my latest and greatest project. This is something I put together to photograph moths in flight. So what happens is the moths come out of the woods, and they fly around this light, and as they fly around this light, there's two lasers that cross and make an X in front of the camera lens here. And when they break the beam, it takes their picture. One of the drawbacks of macro photography is the depth of field, the zone of sharpness in a picture. So the closer you get, the less depth of field you have, the less sharpness you have. So now with computers, now we're able to do something called focus stacking, where we take a series of images at different focus points and then combine them in the computer and give us unlimited depth of field. I travel a lot, so when you go to Africa, every time you get in a safari vehicle, it's a brand new day, and around every corner, you just never know what you're going to see. You could see a cheetah chasing a gazelle, or two lions having a fight, or a great giant bull elephant walking across the Ngorongoro crater. So you got to be open to those possibilities when they present themselves. I go to Africa every year. I've been to Costa Rica probably almost a dozen times, the Galapagos, Ecuador, Peru, Belize, all over North America. It's the experience of a lifetime. It's absolutely epic. A lot of my favorite pictures actually probably aren't my best pictures, because when I look at my pictures, I've got all the memories of what was going on when I made that image. I spend enough time around animals that I can read the signs when they're getting nervous. But I will tell you, one time I was out in Yellowstone and there was a bull moose and he was walking through the river and he stopped behind this hill and I wanted him to take one more step. So I gave him my, oh, which is female moose for, hey, big boy. And this guy came running and I was with a 600mm lens. I was way far away and he come running right at me. I started off shooting film, so I actually shoot digital a lot like I shot film. I don't do a lot of Photoshop and things like that to my images. I shoot a format called digital raw, and what that means is it's an unprocessed image in the camera, out of the camera. So I have to color correct it and sharpen it, and that's about all I do to my images. It's important for me to be true to nature and to the image because I want to preserve it the way it is, and I don't think I need to do anything beyond what I see through the camera usually. You never know what people are going to take away from your work. I would hope that people would take away a love and appreciation for nature and in a perfect world want to help preserve it and protect it.